Hello, I'm Brandon, and welcome to Tansson TV Plus.
And I'm Mom. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, we're always excited to speak with you, and here for a movie Monday. And Mom, we are speaking about
The movie Short Circuit.
so this movie right here is released in 1986, and like I said, this is my first time viewing it. And Mom, are you able to go ahead and dive into this movie?
I sure will. And Brandon, I'll let the audience know I've seen this movie numerous times. But this is just a general scenario for you guys. The movie begins with a demonstration really by robots. And it's really for demonstration to show how robots are used for the military. And so they do a really good job of showing these robots and what they can do. But then the weather turns a little bad, and then one robot is zapped by lightning and kind of goes through a little bit of a change. It leaves the grounds and is found by a woman named Stephanie. Um, it speaks to Stephanie when it meets her and asks for input. Stephanie provides stimulation for this particular robot. She's not quite sure what to do with him. She didn't know if he's an alien. She didn't know what he is. And then so she provides books and tells it information. And then the next day, the robot says he's alive, and the robot says that he's alive. But in the middle of all this, the robot is also wanted by the military because that is what the robots were trained to do, was to work for the military. And so this movie is about the adventures of this robot and and several people in the military, and then the people who are actually helping the robot.
Yeah, and overall, I would say that I really enjoyed. I mean, viewing this movie, and and definitely it was certainly as something different for us to tune into.
It was, and I guess we should tell the audience it was a comedy. It was done very well, and it does provide a lot of laughter as you're watching the movie.
Yeah, and as I said, and definitely like I said, for my first time of viewing it, we watched it on on the Tubi free streaming service. But yeah, I would say that I definitely quite enjoyed it, and and sort of the banter between number five and some of the other characters, and I think I've overall really always have liked the premise of like a machine or robot trying to adapt, and I think this one did it quite well.
Yeah, they did do a nice job with the robot, showing the robot how it was adapting. And then if you watch, what I liked about it, even though this movie is almost 40 years old, it was interesting to see the change that has occurred from that time period to this time period, and how this robot is doesn't really exist like this per se, not yet. And so it's interesting. It was just a good movie to watch.
Yeah, and I will note too. Yeah, speaking of things that have changed, is that overall I like that you're able to see even like the predecessors to some modern technologies within the movie, and so it's sort of fun to see what sort of stuck around and what didn't. But I've definitely found it interesting that for one of the main characters here, let's see, Dr. Newton Crosby, is that his portrayal of being a sort of nerdy character, I guess, that made this, was sort of like a outcast. Whereas I would say that's almost kind of the norm now. It's cool now.
Yep, very, very true, Brandon.
But yeah, and so one thing I did actually want to mention was sort of the amount of product placement that was within the movie. For instance, some of the ones I wrote down were, for instance, Dr. Pepper, Alaska Airlines, the Free Stooges, Colgate, or Ida, Duracell, Volkswagen, Campbell Soup, Texaco, and Charmin.
Yep, they didn't even try. Product placement is not even the word, Brandon. It was all over the movie. So it was fun to see how they poke fun at some of the commercials and things like that were out there in that time period. And so it was also fun to see how they incorporated the different brands within the movie itself.
Yeah, and we did see, of course, a special thank you to them towards the end of the movie. It was for some of them, but some of those other brands that were shown were not a part of that group thanks. So I'm very curious as to if they potentially help finance the film, or if this was just sort of playing around because they did show a lot of commercials as a part of number five, sort of for number five to sort of be acclimated to society and to acclimate them. That we showed a lot of commercials, and so I'm curious to see like yeah how some of them came to be.
Yes. And just so the audience will know, I know you referred to number five a couple times. Number five was the name of the computer, well, the robot per se.
Yes, and yeah, but overall, like, what were your sort of favorite parts of this movie? I know you said you've seen it a few times, so like, why do you keep coming back to this movie?
All right, and let me do clarify that it's been years and years since I've seen the movie, but when I was younger, I watched it quite a few times. It was one of those movies I watched when I was overseas. I have said that numerous times in our vlogs that that I was overseas for a time period, and my sister and I would watch, the movies that kind of came out at that time. And so this is one of those movies that came out. It was just kind of I am a comedy person. And so I liked this lighthearted comedy. And there was a true plot that I liked. It was just, I think it was just a nice movie to watch, and it flows really well.
Yeah, it really does. And even for some of the characters that I wasn't anticipating on really liking early on in the movie, like I sort of was able to build a connection with them as a viewer, and not just the main characters of course, Stephanie and Dr. Crosby, but we're also able to get liking to, for instance, Ben, who disappeared at some point in the movie.
Yeah, you picked that out, Brandon. That one of the characters named Ben, I think he was asked to leave, and we didn't see him again. And what's interesting is he was one of the main characters in the movie, so you'd expect for him to be at the end, at least to see what side we know what side we think he is on, but at least to see what side he decides to be on at the end.
Yeah, and what's more too is that while he is, of course, asked to leave, is that we then get a shot of course, the outside of the truck that they were in, and we don't actually see him leaving. Like you said, and nor is he in the rest of the movie. So I'm quite curious as to how that sort of played about. But I do know that there is a sequel that we have not seen, so maybe he's a part of that one.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. Also, I do not. I know I've seen the sequel. I do not remember the sequel.
But yeah, and so yeah. But is there anything else, Mom, that you want us to discuss for this movie?
Um, I thought even though the movie was an hour and a half, I thought the character development was done really well with Stephanie, and then with Newton Crosby also. I thought they did a really nice job of making them both very likable, giving them a backstory. They each had a backstory, which is nice to hear. And so I just thought the movie flowed really well. I liked what they did with the robot. I like how they showed his growth, which is scary to say as a robot, but I like how they showed his growth in the movie also.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I would say that yeah, for me, something that I really appreciate is, like I said, the energy that they put to really characterize not just number five, but then also, like I said, the other characters. Because for me, I like a nice comedy that I'm sort of for lack of a better word, sort of relate to in the sense that I'm able to say, oh, hey, like I was rooting for these characters and we're able to have a nice finish, not just for the sake of finishing the movie, but because I actually enjoy it. And I will certainly say I do enjoy this one. And let's see, and I was just scrolling through going through my notes a little bit, and they did say that it cost $11 million to make a number five.
Wow. Yes, and which is a lot of money back then, and it's a lot of money now.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, but overall, like, Mom, I know that, like I said, that you've seen the movie a few times, but would you watch this movie again?
I would watch the movie again. I was hoping your brother would watch it, but yes, I would watch the movie again.
Yes, I certainly would as well. And yeah, like I said, it truly was just a fun little adventure. And I know that we are going out of our comfort zone a little bit, and watching movies throughout 2024. I know we're very much TV people, but I'm excited to see whatever movies that might have in store for us this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it also, Brandon.
Well, yeah, and like I said, this is also part of our movie Mondays. Every once in a while, you might see an occasional movie from us.
Yep, and if you have any suggestions for us, let us know. Like I said, we're big on comedies, and so you can place it in the comments. We'd love to see what kind of movies you suggest that we watch.
Yeah, well, until next time, have a wonderful day.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a great day.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, bye bye.